Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I will be showing you how to make this juicy Bosnian traditional dessert called Ruzice. It's pretty much baklava, but it's just layered differently and it looks different, but it tastes exactly the same. So if you struggle with making baklava but you love baklava, this video is for you. You'll need 600 grams of sugar. You'll need also 500 grams of crushed walnuts, as well as 100 grams of ground biscuits. I use petit fours. You need a pot. You need 1 liter of water. You'll need this package of yufka. Make sure it's yufka and not puff pastry though. You can find that at any international market. You'll need a pot, and in our pot I'm going to put the 600 grams of sugar as well as the 1 liter of water. I'm going to dump all of the water into this pot, and then I'm going to put it on the stove top on medium low to cook for about 10 minutes, and the sugar dissolves and it looks clear just like this. Once it looks like that, I'm going to start to add my lemon slices. This is optional, but the lemon slices really give it a nice flavor. I leave it to boil for another 10 minutes. Once it looks like that, I put it to the side and I let it cool. Here is a close-up of the filling that I'm going to use. I used all different types of nuts, but traditionally you're only supposed to use walnuts. But I had things laying around that I wanted to take advantage of. Okay, let's get into the third part. These yufka packages are hit or miss. Inside, they're really flaky and dry, so don't worry about if they start to fall apart, if they start to crack, if they start to break. That's totally normal. The end process will look fantastic, trust me. If for anybody who has never used these types of yufka before, and you'll see, they stick. I don't know why they stick. Maybe it's because they're frozen or they've been packaged for so long. Just try to be as gentle as you can, but again, remember, it's not the end of the world if they start to rip. And I purposefully left this video to be long to show you that mine will rip, mine will fall apart, and that it will be okay. I'm doing 4 layers at a time, and I'm going to try to pull as gently as I can, but as you can see, they start to rip, they start to fall apart, but it's totally fine. Just go with the flow. Okay, once I've separated my sections, I'm going to take 1 sheet first, and I'm going to add the melted butter. Oh my gosh, I didn't say that in the beginning. Yes, you need at least 200 grams of melted butter. I'm just going to sprinkle it across 1 sheet. That way they can all stick together and it kind of acts like a glue. And I'm just going to take 1/4 cup and sprinkle it everywhere. And I'm going to continue this process with each layer. So we have 4 sheets in total. Each sheet will get a sprinkle of butter and 1/4 cup or so of the filling, which was ground nuts, walnuts, and ground biscuits. See, I'm just layering up, and I'm going to repeat the process. I didn't want to speed anything up. I also didn't want to cut anything out. That way you see the exact process and you're not confused. As you can see here, one of my sheets ripped, but that's totally okay because I'm just gonna layer it and make sure everything is covered, because look, we're gonna roll it here in a second, so it doesn't matter. As long as it's covered, we're cool. So you gotta rip this one off because I gotta cover it. So just work with what you got going on and don't worry about the looks, trust me. Now it's time to roll. I just flip the whole pieces together on one end. I use the plastic that the yufka came in at the bottom layer just so it's easier for me to flip it over, and I'm going to continue to add more butter. Again, the butter acts like a glue, so the more you add, everything will come together easier and it will be easier to roll. Now I'm adding another 1/4 cup of the fill in the middle where I rolled it, because essentially when we roll it, that will be the middle part of our flower, of our little rose. Now it's time to roll. Just take it really easy, and it's honestly just like rolling up a burrito or a towel. I don't know how to describe it, but just make sure it's nice and tight and that you're being very gentle with it. As long as you're being gentle and as long as you're not pulling too much or pushing or putting too much pressure, it will stay intact like so. I'm going to be using a tepsiya to bake the ruzice in, but you can use whatever type of baking dish you'd like. I'm also going to be using a guide to cut the ruzice so they're the same width. All I did was I took a lined piece of paper and I cut it, I think 4 lines, and that way each ruzice can be the exact same size. I'm using a plain knife. I'm just doing back and forth motions. That way I don't smush the ruzice, because if I apply pressure, it's gonna smush it and it's gonna look ugly. So just keep going back and forth until you get to the bottom. You will be able to cut it, I promise you. Okay, here is the first ruzice. Look at how beautiful it looks. And of course, the iPhone's gotta eat too. TikTok's gotta eat. There we go. And I'm just gonna put it in the pan and I'm gonna repeat the process until the pan is full. Once I finish one roll, I'm going to continue making the other rolls. I think in total I made about 4, but if you make 3, that's totally fine too, because some layers will rip and you might be short-handed with the yufka. Once all of the little ruzice are placed inside the baking dish, I'm going to brush them all with melted butter. That way the top can get nice and crispy in the oven. I bake them for about 30-ish minutes at 350 degrees, and I keep an eye on it. Once they look golden brown, that's when you know it's ready, like so. I'm going to take that simple syrup while the ruzice are still hot, like while they're fresh out of the oven, because while the ruzice are hot, they can absorb the simple syrup. And remember how we added the ground biscuits in the fill? Well, the ground biscuits will now absorb this simple syrup too. So not only do you want them to be swimming a little bit in the simple syrup, but you also want them to be able to absorb. After about 10 minutes of cooling down, you can already see how soft they are. Even though they're not the softest yet, they're still ready. I'm going to add those lemons that were in the simple syrup on top, and I'm going to cover it with foil, and I'm going to leave it to chill overnight in the refrigerator. this cannot be eaten right away. They have to chill. It's even better if you eat it 3 or 4 days later, because then it really brings out the taste. This is the next morning, and this is how they look. Do you see how they changed color? They changed shape, and they're so soft. I wish you can smell this from the screen. The smell is just fabulous. Look at them. So gorgeous. And look how soft they are too. Oh, delicious. No, we have to taste test it. I'm grabbing the middle piece because I deserve it. And it was just speaking to me. Look at how gorgeous this piece is. But look at how easy it breaks. That means it's soft, it's juicy, and it's the perfect thickness. Honestly, hope that you try this recipe out. If you love baklava, but I've always been afraid to try it and think that it's a complicated dessert to make, it's really not. Try out these ruzice and please let me know in the comments if you make it and how you like it. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. Please subscribe, like, and share, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Until then, dobar tek.